Hello, this is ArtsyWisdom. My name is Diane, and welcome to my Sunday Nighttime Mysteries. Today, I'm going to look at a couple souls, Anthony Bourdain and Maggie Smith, completely different people. If you haven't been here before, I can travel to these souls, or what I perceive to be their souls and their energies, and sometimes they give me information. Sometimes I can see what's going on, lessons, their life. It's really interesting. And then I also am going to look into Sister Cathy Cesnik. She was taken from us, murdered back in 1969. Somebody had requested I look into her. I also, every week, I think I'll do is like one celebrity or two celebrities and a mystery. Now, I am doing this with the highest intention for good. I do not want to disrespect anyone's family or loved ones or the situation. I'm only trying to bring light and the knowledge that we're all connected as one. All of us are. And the heavenly realms and all the people or all the infinite wisdom that's around here is all connected to us. And we're all learning. So that's it. And hopefully you guys can understand that's what my goal is. And if I can bring information to any situation, awesome. That's even the better. Last week I did Elenia Carisi, the Italian girl who went missing in New Orleans in 94, I think it was. Yeah, that was sad. Anyway, today they found the Sister Cathy's body. I was going to look into the situation around her passing. But first, Maggie Smith, I'm going to start off with her. Cheers. This is my glass that I got in White Court. And I don't know about you guys. I like to put fruit in my wine. Makes it more festive. All right, let's start off with Maggie Smith. She was so fun because she had no hesitation. You know, sometimes I get into people's energies and souls and they're fractured or they're healing and there's a lot of discomfort, not necessarily human discomfort, but a process where their soul is adjusting and healing. Charlie Kirk, I did that for him, and he went through a lot of healing. He's still in the process because his life was taken so short. He was taken so young, I mean. So I have my notes. Those of you who haven't been here before, I meditate on these people and then I take my notes. She's relieved, actually. I had a big sense of relief. And she has a lot of friends and family there. And she's still processing her death. And this life was in response to she had some difficult lives in the past. Her soul went through a lot of difficult lives up until Maggie Smith's life. And now it was in response to that. It was like a relief or I don't want to say a prize, but it was something good for her soul to ease through, because every life doesn't have to be a slog, right? We all have karmic patterns, and you have a soul contract. You come down deciding what you're going to learn or who you're going to learn it through, what family, what spirit family you're going to be with, biological family. I do feel like either she had some father, I'm back into Maggie Smith's life, not her soul. I don't know if there was father issues maybe, or husband issues. There's a male counterpart. And I know she was married, but I don't know if this was related to that or not. There's some expectations and lack of self-belief that she grew up with. I don't ever see her as being weak or self-conscious at all, but maybe initially she was, and when she was on stage, she felt happier. I don't know. She so loved her life and was a good friend. She's kind of snarky. I feel like a sense of, like the Downton Abbey grandma, where she was really pointed in her the way she would have these remarks that were super sharp and super like abrasive and funny, sharp and smart. Her soul, I asked her soul, what did you learn? She said, I was honored in this life to play people and give them life again. She said, I loved words, something about words. were really important to her in this life. She loved the meaning. She loved to play with words, like Shakespeare. He was a master with words, innuendo, meaning. Well, there's dogs are barking. Hopefully you can't hear that. Shakespeare lost, and she said it's a lost art. Uh, and I have to agree with her. It feels like vocabulary has shortened and gotten less and less and less with people. Um, and I think simplification is the name of the game anymore. She said, I am resting and have no plans to come down soon. I'm tired. She's relieved and tired. She just needs to rest. When you go to the other side, you go to the Council of Light, you appear and you meet your soul family, your spirit family, and you have an assessment kind of thing to see how, not so much a report card, but how you feel you did. Your soul connects with these wise beings, and they share with you um, their thoughts, I guess is what it is, or energies of how your soul was able to do the different things that you wanted to do in that life. But like I said, it's not a report card. It's no punishment or anything. It's just an assessment kind of thing. Tired. My experience was exhausting, she said. Soul has many possibilities. Next life, I will be harder to fight for causes, and so I need to build up my resources. So I did this a couple of days ago, so I'm remembering now. She showed me that in this next life, she'll be like, I don't know if it's politics or fighting for climate or some sort of causes. She's going to be somebody like that, where she's going to fight for causes. So she was elderly when she passed, obviously. So she's healing. I just feel an exhaustion. I feel as tired. So she's got to build up her energy. And it also could be a timing issue. Sometimes people are up there for a really long time because they have to wait for the family to come along that they're going to be gone into, you know. She's and I hear her say, take a bow. She's saying, take a bow. And she's her energy is very, even though she's tired, there's a zestiness about her. Um, and, and as she did this she did this bowing to me. She just turned into a child, and then she walked off stage. I don't know what that means exactly, but she kind of waved and she went behind the curtain. That stage, I don't know if that's stage right or left. And she waved cutely. She said, my dear friend Judy, she will be here soon enough and we'll get in some laughs and card games. Judy Dench, I think. She was my mother before. She said Judy was her mother in a past life. So I feel like her life was as it was meant to be. Her contract was fulfilled. I feel like she had some issues coming in, but it was sort of it was a good life for her because she had committed, or she had done a bunch of karmic positive things in previous lives, but also they were hard. Her lives were hard before in their past lives. This life, it was almost like she was reaping the rewards to a great degree. There was issues, obviously, and things to learn, but I feel like she was reaping the rewards from many, many past lives. And I don't know why. I saw Angela Lansbury at some point. I don't know if that's because she was on the stage too, but I don't know. But I saw her, um, not necessarily with her, but she came to mind. And whenever I see people, they come to mind, like Natalie Wood and Elizabeth Taylor popped in, then I go, okay, they're connected somehow. Otherwise, I wouldn't even think about them. Okay, let's look at Anthony Bourdain. Now, I feel immediately mad. He said, and he says, GD, God damn. He said, gosh darn it, I'm mad that I gave up. He's mad that he gave up. And usually, on the other side, not usually all the time, your ego is no longer part of your soul. It's the ego is just here in our human existence. Spirituality or spiritual self does not have an ego. Natalie Wood hadn't left, so her ego was still kind of part. She's another one that was angry. And I'm kind of deciphering. Sometimes I think people are angry in that life and it translates to me like that on the soul level. They're not, but maybe that's it. He said, I was so frustrated, because he took his own life. I was so frustrated. And it was part chemical problem. Like he showed me his brain had been, um, not broken isn't the right word. The wiring was off due to substance abuse early in life, or then, I don't know. So his brain wasn't working. It's like those guys that have get the concussions in football. I forget the name of that, where their brain, hits too much on the side of their head and they have impulse problems and they end up being really violent. It wasn't that bad, but it's like that, where his brain had been damaged. And then he said, I was upset in a relationship, but I was stupid. He said, I always did big and I'm intense, but damn, he said, and he shows me this impulsivity. He's just compulsive and impulsive. And he really, he feels like he really should have stuck it out a little bit more. He says, but not much to do now. He said, I love life in full drive. Or full drive isn't the right word. Like floor, pedal to the pedal to the metal, where he's like going 100 miles an hour. He's like, that's how I lived my life. He said, I'm in trouble due to my choices. Okay, so now he's on the other side and he has to answer to his choices. And it's not only taking his own life. There's some other choices he made, and they, like Anne Sullivan, Helen Keller's teacher, even though people don't see those things you did, God does, karma does, spirit does. When you do, your soul recognizes what you did and didn't do. He's saying, I'm dealing with the choices I made in life. I'm not saying he was a bad person. I'm just saying that's what he was doing. He said, I have to pay up for mistakes. That sounds terrible. But I think the way he's saying it, because that's his voice, he's like saying, he's more like straightforward and tough kind of voice. I have a lot to learn. The council has a lot to question me. And he said, my free will had a lot of openings for good or for bad. So sometimes you have a contract, a soul contract. It's very specific. You come down here, maybe you're a child with a family, and maybe the child passes away really young, and it's there to teach the parents, and maybe they were in a spirit family before. They have a contract to teach their parents about something. It's all related. He had a lot of free will. It wasn't as determined or finite. He had some free will to make choices, he says, for good or for bad. And I said, what's the lesson here? What's your soul's lesson? He said, be at peace, heal in life. He was saying, heal yourself in life. Don't wait till you get to the other side. He said, I did a lot, yet I gave up again. He said, I will wait until I complete my penance, meaning on the other side. I don't know. I don't think he was Catholic, but who knows? But I feel like he has so much regret. He feels like there's a lot of processing. And it's got to be, 5, 8 years now. He said, I need to learn a lot about infinite love. It's very beautiful. Try to be more earthly than here. He's like, I was trying to live on the earth plane and I ignored the possibilities of the infinite love all around me. Or maybe he didn't ignore it, but he couldn't let it in or manage it. He said, I tried to be more earthly, should have transcended to the spirit plane without drugs or alcohol so much. My ego was too big to contain. So he's saying his ego and his 3D self acted like it was in control, but in reality, there's no control. Very little do we have to control. His lesson, he said to us, he said, be humble. He said, I was insecure, but wanted to control again. We have no control. Infinite possibilities are everywhere. So his regret is that he should have waited it out, transcended, understood, loved himself like God loves us infinitely, and what would you do now if you were around? I asked him, if you still stuck it out, what would you have done? How would your life be now? He said, I would have done like connecting families with food, like on media, like internet or TV or whatever. He's saying, I would have shared the idea of love and community more, and using food as the, he didn't say conduit, but that's what I'm saying, the connector, and heal. And he's saying heal through food and community. He said, I would show, this was funny. He said, I would show my wrinkles and my age and my wisdom. And he was already kind of, I don't know, what was he, in his 50s or something? And he was pretty wrinkly from living hard. And, but he showed me like a grumpy old guy, like an Italian grandpa who cooked for everyone, yelling at everybody, sit down, sit down, sit down, kind of thing, but yelled a lot, but with love. He said, I would have been like abrasive, but loving, he's like, I could have channeled that person, that ego, that agitated person that I had in this life into something really positive. And he regrets not doing that. He said, I couldn't, this is kind of really interesting. He says, I couldn't cross the bridge to self-love when I was alive. He said, my ego won. He couldn't cross the bridge to self-love. So his ego and self-love, he couldn't make that connection. And so instead he took his own life, thinking that was all he had. But in reality, infinite possibilities, and self-love was right there for him. So it's kind of a, but he was so mad at himself originally. And I don't think that's now. I think that was just him. His energy and his personality came through. But he's doing a lot of healing. He's doing a lot of learning. He's doing a lot of understanding of what it is to be an infinite soul. And that was part of his lesson here, to be in a restrictive, a finite body and a finite mindset, and to learn how to evolve to make it more expansive. And he did, to some degree. And he'll take it to the next one and the next one and the next one. So thank you, Anthony. Anything else that you want us to say? He's like, we're all in this together. He's like, don't ignore other people, because there's so many people out there that are needing love and connection. He's like, so many like me. He's like, we don't know how to do it. We have to show each other how to do it. Thank you. Okay, let's get to Sister Catherine, or Cathy. And like I said, no disrespect. I'm only doing this for the highest and greatest good of all, and whatever that looks like. And please don't take anything I say as any, and disregard anything I say as being negative in any way. I'm only going to try. I tried to get into her energy. Apparently, she was in Maryland. She was a teacher at a school, high school, I think, all girls high school. And it was in Maryland. She went missing. She went shopping. She had an apartment with somebody, and then they found her car, and they never found her for a couple of years, until I think they found her in a landfill a couple of years later, maybe. Cathy Cesnik. And I felt like she's back. The funny thing about her is I felt no remorse, no sadness, no fear, no anger, it's just peace. I feel like she is just a lovely human. She's back already. She's been back. And I got that she was killed by someone who had killed before. There was, what I read was that there was some sexual abuse at the school or the church or wherever by the one priest. And so there was a lot of focus on that. And anyway, I got into that energy. I'll mention that in a minute. But I feel like this person who took her was some sort of person that travels, or is a truck driver who traveled through that town or city, wherever it was in Maryland, a lot. Maybe they were a commercial driver, not necessarily a semi driver, but somebody that was traveling. And I feel like they traveled quite a bit, and that was who it was. um, the same roads. And I saw it, she's having a do-over, meaning she's very similar. She's in another spiritual life. I don't know if it's a nun or she could be a man actually. She's in another spiritual position, and um, she really loved her life then and her family. And she had so many plans. I feel like she was so energetic, so always thinking about stuff she wanted to do. She had a lot of plans. That's the energy when I'm in her. She's very, um, positive. And I have all these things, and she's looking far ahead and thinking about plans. And she was a go-getter. That was the word I used. She was really a go-getter. She was concerned for her students, and this is where I get in a little dark corner here. She was concerned for her students. There was some secrets that they shared with her, and she began to understand more about their lives. I think in her life, she didn't have any of those experiences specifically, but she had some understanding of what was going on in the church, understanding of the abuse that the priests were doing in other ways. Maybe not this guy, but other places. She knew. She had already heard. There was in the convent or the seminary, whatever it is, her education, she knew. So she already had that understanding. And then these students would share these secrets, quote unquote, with her. And she wasn't going to share. So I was looking into who would have done this. Would it have been the priest that I don't think it was him. I don't feel like it was him. Oh yeah, somebody said there was a documentary on it called The Keepers. Of course I didn't watch it, but that's what they said. And she wasn't going to share it, but because of old school mentality, I think back then it was kept quiet under wraps, and she was still in that place. We didn't tell anybody unless we for sure, and even then, kind of thing, making it up or making it less bad. I feel like she was very tuned in. Her birthday, she was a Scorpio. I saw her birthday November 7th or 17th, which is weird because today is the 18th. So she was very sensitive to energy and people's emotions. So it makes sense that she would really, and she was young. I think she was only like 24 or 25. She picked up on these students, these teen, I think it was girls. She had a lot of repressed anger. I feel like at that time, she didn't know what to do with it. And I don't know if she even recognized how deep the anger went. And she was really upset, but she didn't know how to do it. And I'm in her energy, and I'm in my car, and I feel like she's reading something, and I feel like it might be a prayer book, or I don't think it was just a book. She's in her car, and I feel like she's reading something, and she's, I think, even talking to God and saying, what am I going to do about this? I don't think it was about sharing that, but she's praying. I feel like she's praying, and she's reading some of her prayers in this book. Um, and a guy comes by her car, and I feel like he talks to her. She's getting ready to get out, and he comes by, and it's either a friend of a friend or this guy who I told you passes by, and he said, "Hey," and she rolls down the window, and I think he pretends to ask for a ride. I don't feel like he's old, but I know I just got done saying that it is somebody that travels. I feel like it's somebody skinny and not that tall, but skinny. And she rolled down the window. I think he wanted a ride or pretended he wanted a ride, and he got in. And, oh, okay. So she's accepted where she is now. She put herself in that place. She was looking down, reading, protecting the kids. She was praying for guidance, and this person asked for a ride. Said they knew somebody she knew. I think it was like that. Say, "Hey, I'm, Tommy's friend, and hey, he said you're really cool, and could you give me a ride? I just need to go over here and here." I also feel like that priest, it wasn't just SA or sexual abuse, I feel like there was other illegal activities happening. I don't have any proof for that at all, none whatsoever. And I'm not using this I often put entertainment purposes only, and this obviously is sad, but I'm only going through the images that I'm getting, and I have no proof of that. But I allegedly in my head, but I feel like there was other dark energies. I feel like there was other intertwined. Maybe it's just stuff on the street that the priest knew about that he ignored, because you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, but not like specifically like get rid of her kind of thing. But there's some kind of dark energies that were floating around there. There's also, I feel like I told you, this person is skinny. She's accepted it now. She feels like another person. I already told you of spiritual nature. She said, I am well, all good. I'm at peace. She's totally at peace. I refuse to give them my sympathy or shelter. There was something, the priest maybe, or whoever she was considering and praying about, something about that. She refused to give them their sympathy or give them, like somebody maybe was talking to her and say, hey, it's not this big of a deal, don't worry about it, kind of thing. And there's something about her, because she was pretty go-getterish, pretty energetic. I feel like she was so torn. There was a lot of difficulties within her about what to do. And again, I said she was praying for that. I do see somebody grinding out a cigarette on the sidewalk, smoking and pushing it out like they were watching her, or like they grinded it out and then went to her car to talk to her. Like it doesn't feel as planned as you'd think it would. I don't feel like it's that planned. She knew, in her soul knew she was going into a difficult place. Her soul knew that she would be part of, not necessarily lost her life, but she knew this life would be something she was supposed to learn karmically. So she understood that, and she went into it. She was tough. She was strong. And so Cathy was she knew it. Her soul had a path, and she followed it. That's why she's so at peace now. Nobody wants that, to leave the earth, but she's totally at peace. I don't know, it must be because she was spiritually focused to begin with, and she just ascended easily and quickly. She's supposedly had blunt force trauma, her head, that kind of thing. She said, yeah, I'm at peace and with God, and I have no fear, and my soul is healed now. Again, like I said, she's already down, and she's starting doing something else, and another spiritual person. And I asked her, well, she continued to say, judgment has come to all involved, meaning all the people that are involved, judgment has come to them. They have passed on, most of them, and they have been judged on the other side. She said it's already been taken care of. She said, I am proud of my work while I was alive on earth. I feel like no residual energy with her. I feel no, like Anthony Bourdain, there's a lot there. She's like, nope, I knew what I was doing. I was going to that place. I knew when I took that job, and my soul came into that life to learn different lessons. So anyway, I don't know if that is going to help anybody find out a solution for what happened with her, but she's fine. She's on the other side and at peace. Hopefully you guys find that interesting. Let me know. I have a few more names, and then obviously a bunch of celebrities where I'm interested to look into them. All right, you guys, take care. Have a good week. Till next time.